Okay.
Hi, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to another installment of our ancillary cross-selling Wednesday. Today we, excuse me, today we had David Neal, a broker sales manager with Mutual of Omaha. He's going to go over some of their life products, their simplified issue, their final expense. As we know, the final expense is something that we need to start talking more about, especially with our legacy safeguard product and the things that we bring to the table to help our persistency, to help our referrals with the legacy safeguard. And it'll enhance multiple levels of what you can do in your insurance already. Like we talk about, we don't know what CMS is going to do year to year. I think we're very fortunate this year, with what the rules and regulations that we got back from CMS, that we didn't get as much as we, thought we might have gotten from them. So, less is more with CMS. So we have to make sure that we are diverse in what we do with our ancillary, with our cross-selling, with talking to our clients. You know what our mantra is? Our clients don't know what they don't know unless we tell them. So we have to make sure we let our clients know what we know. Okay. We have to let them know that we are proficient, and we want to show them what we can talk about in final expense. Make sure they have enough for their burial. Make sure they have enough for, for their final needs. And again, the legacy safeguard does a great job with the comparison and with the companion part of the final expense. It makes your life easier. All of our cross-selling is connected. Okay. We have to make sure that we are talking to our clients. And a lot of these things, like I said, there's no other licenses that we need to have, just your life and health. There's no other certifications required. You can talk about these plans all year long. So make sure that we are talking about them. Make sure you don't have to be perfect in knowing these plans. What you have to do is talk about them. Okay. The more you talk about them, the more perfect you will become. So that's what we're trying to do here. Again, like I said, your clients don't know what you know unless you tell them. Okay. You can be the best agent in the world, but if you don't let them know what you have and what they need to look at, then you're really missing the boat. So, David, thank you so much, and Mutual for being our guest speaker today. And again, David, I'll let you start your presentation, and thank you again.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, thanks, Joey. And also just as a further introduction, Lynn Copel, who is my internal partner at Mutual of Omaha, the account executive that works with me to support you folks, is also on the call. So welcome, Lynn. And
good morning.
Yeah, good morning. And so yeah, so I liked some of the things you said, or most, I guess everything that you just said, Joey. And really what this presentation is going to be in a very broad sense about is cross-selling. And what you said about that you don't have to be an expert, that you just have to have the conversation, you have to ask the questions and things like that, and that's what ultimately is kind of at the heart of cross-selling and helping your clients in the best possible way. So what I'm going to do today, go through today, is just give you an overview of our entire simplified issue product portfolio. So it'll be our final expense product, Living Promise, which some of you may be familiar with, but then also some of the other products in our portfolio that you may also be familiar with, but I think it's important to just know about. And again, you don't need to be an expert in this. You just need to know a little bit about the products and how to position them. And we have a lot of support. Lynn and I are just really the tip of the iceberg in terms of the support that we can offer you. So just kind of jumping right in, I always like to start a presentation, or most presentations, with a little bit of a, why do business with us? Why should you do business with Mutual of Omaha? And as Lynn has heard me say 1,000 times, this is not meant to be a company commercial. However, if you're new or newer to Mutual of Omaha, especially on the life side, I want you to feel very confident about who we are as a company. Certainly our brand recognition is a huge competitive advantage. Brand and name recognition, very strong and stable financially for over 100 years. Dedicated team here to help you, like I just mentioned. Lynn and I are just really the tip of the iceberg. A very competitive simplified issue product portfolio that we'll be reviewing. And then we'll talk a little bit about some of the process oriented things as well. So I apologize in advance. My allergies are killing me. So if I'm sneezing and sniffling, I apologize in advance. Just a little quick shot here about who we are in terms of financial stability. You can see we have very high ratings from the three major rating agencies. And, again, that's something that your clients and prospects are not going to know about or even know why it matters, but it does matter. You want a company that is, especially on the life insurance side, we're all about maintaining promises and long-term situations, and so you want the company that you're representing to be strong financially. A little bit about the brand recognition. If you're an old guy like me, you grew up watching our Wild Kingdom show on Sunday nights. Every Sunday night, it was kind of a family tradition for a lot of families. We actually just brought that show back, and it's now on Saturday mornings on NBC. But again, you might be thinking, well, why is this important? The more we can do to keep our name out there, the better. That makes it a competitive advantage for us, and by extension, of course, a competitive advantage for you. This, as you all know, is a very competitive industry. And one of the things you can take off the table without any question, without any doubt, is who we are as a company. You're never going to have to explain who we are because people are going to be familiar with us. Do the same thing. I don't know if you're golf fans here. It's almost impossible to turn on a golf tournament, whether it's PGA or LPGA, and not see some of our golf ambassadors, the golf players out there. Again, why is this important? We're doing everything we can to keep our name out there and do it kind of in a strategic way. So that helps us and helps you. And that's us. David Neal and Lynn Copel, your first go-to internal team to help you. And Joey, if I haven't done this already, we'll send you this slide deck so that you have it. So some of this stuff, obviously feel free to take notes, but we'll give you this entire PowerPoint deck. Other things, like I mentioned, we're the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of really great support behind us. So when you, like I said, this is really a lot about cross-selling. And if you haven't heard this from me yet, or somebody else at Mutual of Omaha, you will. And it's this whole, slogan or idea of never leave a client need unmet. We used to say never leave the home without a sale, but that seems less client focused. And so what do we mean by that? Well, a big part of what we mean by that is with Mutual of Omaha, you're in a position to help your clients with multiple needs. So you might know us for final expense. You might only write final expense with that, and that's totally fine with our Living Promise product, which we'll touch on. But we'll be touching on the other products you can see here on the screen to give you an idea of what they are and how you can position these products with your clients. And this slide I really like because it really shows you we've got a product portfolio that goes from, if you're thinking of just issue ages, from 2 weeks all the way out to age 85. And we'll go over each one of these, at least on a high level, so you know that. So what does that mean? I guess as the bottom of the slide says, if you tap into and get somewhat comfortable with our simplified issue product portfolio, you're really in a position to never leave a client need unmet. And again, just to drill down on that again, what am I talking about? So you go in and it's a final expense lead or scenario, right? But then you uncover some additional needs for the client. We're going to be positioned, or we are positioned, to help you from a product perspective in so many different ways. And that's really what we're talking about when we're talking about cross-selling. Again, for those of you that are new or newer to us, at least on the life side, when we talk about simplified issue, you'll sometimes hear that we'll refer to as our express product portfolio. Simplified Issue and Express, it's synonymous. All it means is, as the slide points out, is we've taken all of the traditional hurdles of fully underwritten life insurance and basically removed them. So there's no exam, there's no blood, urine, all of that has been removed. So what that means, most importantly, is that your clients get the coverage they need issued as quickly as possible. And also, very importantly, you get paid very quickly for the work that you're doing out there in the field. Keep in mind too, when I talk about our life insurance products, we also do have, fully underwritten life insurance products, which I'm not going to cover today, but would be happy to do in a future session. And those are going to be the products that would involve full underwriting because they involve larger face amounts. So what's really nice about this is, that's the essence of our simplified issue product portfolio from an underwriting perspective, the fact that we can remove what are at least perceived hurdles, to the life insurance application and underwriting process. So just jumping in here, looking at Living Promise, I think that some of you probably know us pretty well as the leader in final expense in the final expense marketplace. And the product that we have, it's really straightforward. Again, it's called Living Promise. It's a kind of a plain vanilla whole life product. We've already talked about that. It has simplified issue underwriting. There's two plans available: the level and graded benefit, and we'll kind of get into some of that. Target market, pretty self-explanatory. This is going to be seniors, and that's somewhat of a subjective term, but seniors, that are looking to cover final and other expenses, typically like burial expenses and debts, so they don't burden their family or their beneficiaries with those things. So we do, like I mentioned, we do have the two different plan options. And we often get the question, well, how do I decide which plan I should select for my client? That's not something you decide or the client decides. It's determined by the underwriting process, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But it's really straightforward. We smaller face amounts on this. So you're up to with a level benefit plan. Sorry, this is living benefit. The level benefit plan, you get coverage amounts up to $50,000, and with the graded benefit plan, you have coverage amounts up to $20,000. And really, again, it's underwriting that will decide. The underwriting process will determine which product that they're available, which product is available to them. So we also have at Mutual of Omaha, we have a really strong product design and pricing philosophy to not only provide you and your clients with a very, very competitively priced base plan, which we certainly have with Living Promise, but also some additional riders that can be added as a cost rider, obviously additional costs, and some no cost riders. You'll see how that story even becomes more comprehensive as I talk about some of our other products. But it's just really nice to be able to, as this slide points out, so you're not having to just talk about the death benefit of the policy. You can talk about some of the other benefits that are available. It just makes for a more comprehensive discussion with your clients. I mentioned the level and the graded, and then not eligible for coverage, which is a decline. And again, even though this is simplified issue underwriting, there still is underwriting involved. So like with any life insurance, outside of guaranteed issue, there's a possibility that your client would not be eligible. So the level benefit plan is if they answer no to all the application questions, they will be eligible for the level benefit plan. And then that's in part one of the application. They will, if they answer yes to any application question in part two, they would be eligible for the graded benefit. And then there's some things here at the bottom of the slide you can see that we also pull. But the great thing is all of this is happening behind when you use, and hopefully you do. We still have paper applications available for certain, if you need that, but our e-application, we're about 92% adoption on our e-application, which is just really the best way to go. And when you're doing that, excuse me, when you're sitting with your client, those additional things like the pharmaceutical check and MIB, which is the Medical Information Bureau, those things, excuse me, those things are going on in the background. And as you use, and we'll touch on it here in a little bit, with our e-application, obviously the advantage to it is you're never having to worry about having correct up-to-date forms, and you can get an instant decision as you're sitting and meeting with your client. So that's really, I mean, when you think of final expense and then living promise, whole life product, there aren't really a lot of moving parts. There's not a lot of complexity at all to the product. I will say, as Joey pointed out, um, there are in terms of, different tools and things available to you. I know that Integrity offers a lot of things that can help you sort of from like a fact finding process in helping to determine, the coverage amount needed, et cetera. So, and that's the Legacy Safeguard program. If you're not familiar with it, if you're not familiar with it, I really, and I think Joe, you mentioned Legacy Safeguard. If you're not familiar with it, I really would encourage you to take a look at it, especially as it relates to final expense sales, because it's a very comprehensive program. It's very helpful, especially at point of sale, and it's available to you as being, part of the Integrity family, available to you at no cost. So what I wanted to do next is then just kind of jump into a few of the other products in our simplified issue product portfolio. The next product I wanted to cover, and again, some of you may already be familiar with this, is our Term Life Express product. Again, Express is synonymous with simplified issue, so this is going to be the same thing with, no blood, no urine, no exam, no medical exam. That is also available through simplified issue underwriting, our Term Life Express. Again, this is also a very straightforward product. You can see it's really sort of four products in one. You've got the 10, 15, 20, and 30-year guaranteed period. And what I always like to point out is, at the younger issue ages, you can offer your client up to I don't know if you can see my cursor, but you can offer your client up to $300,000 of coverage with truly simplified issue underwriting. Now, you'll run into situations where your client needs a higher death benefit amount, a higher coverage amount, and that's when you would move over to our fully underwritten products. Again, this just shows some of again, it's simplified issue underwriting, but there is underwriting being performed. But as you can see here, and really all this slide is meant to show is that as coverage amounts increase or decrease, however you're looking at it, and the issue ages increase, there's slightly different underwriting requirements as you work through this. But again, all of this is going on behind the scenes as you're using our e-application. So I mentioned riders. You just have a couple available on our Living Promise Final Expense product, but with our Term Life Express, we have additional riders. So we have both cost riders and no cost riders. Obviously, cost riders are available for an additional cost. You can see the four that are available. Pretty straightforward. You can use none of them, all of them, two of them. It's really up to you. But again, it allows you to have a conversation beyond just talking about, the death benefit. Where I really think we shine, especially with term insurance, because term insurance is mostly, it's very much in my opinion, a commodity sale, if you will. Lowest price wins. There's really not a whole lot more to talk about than the death benefit. But that's not the case with Mutual of Omaha, because we also have our no cost benefits. I just mentioned our cost riders, but these no cost benefits or riders that you can see on this slide are automatically included, and guess what, at no additional cost. And you can see what they are, but I want to spend a little time on what I would say are, really these riders, these no cost benefits are very much anchored by our living benefit riders for terminal, chronic, and critical illness. And we'll take a look at that. So again, the main point, and I know I'm throwing a lot of information out there, so I always like to pause sometimes and give you kind of the big picture. The main point with this, the main point with our living benefit riders is you're able to term insurance often is, let's say, a mortgage protection scenario. It could be anything, but that's often how Term Life Express is sold. And again, it's usually just about the death benefit. But now with these living benefit riders, you're able to have a conversation, and these are, like, available, automatically included at no additional cost. You're able to have a conversation beyond just a conversation about the death benefit, right? Because think about it, right? The insured is not going to benefit from the death benefit, but his or her beneficiaries, family members, for instance, will benefit from them. But to be able to have a conversation about living benefits is something I think that is very compelling. I won't read through this, and again, I'll send you these slides, but these are the conditions with which one would become benefit eligible. So these are kind of the triggering events. The other thing I always like to point out about this, so these are paid through an acceleration of death benefit, right? It can't be from cash value because term insurance doesn't have any cash value. So this is all paid out through an acceleration of death benefit. Death benefit, and as we all know, life insurance death benefits, one of the biggest attributes and positive things and selling points about all life insurance is that the life insurance death benefits are received 100% income tax free. So these benefits are paid, like I just mentioned, through an acceleration of death benefit. So these are likewise 100% income tax free. So you can sort of see how this conversation, you go from a straight term insurance scenario, and you're able to talk about so many different things. There's always some little caveats. Unfortunately, for those of you that do business in California, as you may know, California is a little tough when it comes for all companies when it comes to product and rider availability. So they're not available in the state of California, but we continue to work on that. I mentioned that there's no cost for this rider, and there isn't, but there is a nominal, administration fee and some other discounting that we do with these riders. And we get questions about, well, what are these, what are these discounts that you're talking about? Well, to spare you the actuarial minutia, it's just that, remember, these are paid through an acceleration of death benefit. So we are paying out these benefits, these living benefits, sooner than we anticipated. And so there's a discount to that. But the good thing is it's going to be on the illustration. It's not a secret. It's going to be on the illustration on the sales proposal, so you and your client can see it. As is the case with most term products, we do allow for conversions, and you can see some of the kind of the requirements or specifics here. We have just a conversion product, a whole life product, but what I think is very compelling is you also can convert to our IUL Express, excuse me, IUL Express product, which is our simplified issue index universal life product, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute. So that's a good thing to know. Oh, a minute. I should have said 5 seconds, because here we are. So one of the things I want to talk to you about or the next product that I want to cover is our Index Universal Life Express product. So again, Express means simplified issue underwriting. And we actually have 3 IUL products, the 2 that are fully underwritten. Again, we're not going to cover those today, but those are going to be for larger face amounts. But this product is a true Index Universal Life product that offers simplified issue underwriting. And if you're at all active, and again, I don't know the background of everybody on the phone, but if you're at all active in the life insurance space and have been for some time, you'll know that IULs, Index Universal Life products, have really been sort of a dominant product in the life space for the last really 15 or 20 years. So we're really happy to be able to offer 3 products. The one I'm going to talk about is our simplified issue product. Just a couple things here. We hadn't had any competition when it comes to simplified issue IUL products. There's a couple carriers out there that have now, just in the last few months, introduced a simplified issue IUL product. But we really, we're glad, because it allows us to tell our story no longer in a vacuum, because now we can compare to other carriers that have this product out there. And frankly, with all due respect to some of these carriers and these products, they're very aggressively priced and illustrated. So we talk about, and again, I won't get into all this, a lot of the detail here, but you can see some of the things that set us apart. And it really comes down to our low fee structure, our low expenses, which you really are not going to find with the other carriers now that are out there. When you look at this slide, it probably looks very similar to the slide I just showed you on our Term Life Express, because frankly, it is. The underwriting for IUL Express and Term Life Express is identical. So again, you have the same situation here where you can offer your clients up to $300,000 of coverage at the younger issue ages. And then we're not going to get into, and I'd be happy to get into this in a future presentation to really kind of do a deep dive on this. We won't do it today, but you can see here the 4 different indexing strategies that we have. Just 30,000 foot view on that. What makes Index Universal Life attractive is, well, it's a cash value universal life product, but the possibility or the potential for a higher return is there due to the fact that the crediting rate is tied to an index. So just keep that in mind. And again, I'd be happy to do a deeper dive on our IUL products in a future session. So just like I mentioned with our Term Life Express, same scenario. We offer a robust set of riders that are available at an additional cost. You can see those here. And then again, there are no cost riders that are automatically built in. And as I always say, very much in my opinion, and most people's opinion, anchored by our living benefit riders. And we just talked about those. So this is identical. I guess we don't need to cover this slide. But again, just as a as a refresher, these are the situations in which one would become, benefit eligible. So just some of the basics with IUL, because I know that sometimes there is a hesitation, especially if you're not active in the life insurance space, or maybe you've never written an IUL product, that that the product has a lot of moving parts and that it's a little complicated. And I understand that, but what I always say, and Lynn has heard me say dozens and dozens of times, those additional moving parts, those are a good thing, not a bad thing. A good thing, not a bad thing, because that's what makes the product so dynamic. So just some of the basics here, it's pretty straightforward, right? It's a permanent life insurance solution. We sell a lot of term insurance. I'm sure you folks sell a lot of term insurance. Term insurance is going to be appropriate in a lot of scenarios, but you're going to find people you're going to find quite a few people that want a permanent solution. Think of it as kind of a example would be of a home ownership, like sort of renting versus owning a home. With this, it's a permanent product they have for their entire life, not for just the term period. We already talked about the simplified issue underwriting, and I mentioned briefly kind of what the situation is with the index or the different indexing strategies that we have that really help make the product attractive and help the client have a greater opportunity for upside growth, cash value growth. Target market, who are good people to talk to this product about? Well, the reality is just about anybody. I would say that this is product, typically the IUL product is going to be more attractive to younger clients. I know that's a very broad and vague term, but like I've been mentioning or talking about, one of the main attractions is the cash value growth in this policy. So people that are younger that have more time to take advantage of that cash value growth are going to find this attractive. It can also be used as an alternative to final expense. And so there's a lot of different ways to present it. This is just meant to sort of, again, I'm not going to get into too much detail, just sort of demystify, if you will, IUL, because it's really not that complicated. It does have more moving parts than a term product or a whole life product, but this is sort of how it happens. The client pays a premium, part of that goes to building to cash value, accumulation value, and then they can either go to our fixed account, uh, or one of the four index crediting strategies. So there's just a lot of flexibility. And again, this is sort of another way of looking at it, trying to sort of demystify it. Doing this, especially, and again, I apologize. There might be folks on this call that have written, dozens of these, and so this is a review for you. But in case that's not the situation, the process is really pretty straightforward. And Lynn and I and I'm sure Joey and other people there at Copeland would be happy to, obviously support you and help you in running, on your first case or two or three, so that we can help you, run the illustration. But beyond that, it's pretty straightforward, especially if you're using our e-application. We have a great amount of training and support materials available. So what this slide is showing you is just a screenshot, nothing that exciting, but of some of the different, some of the different things that we have available to help you understand and become familiar with our IUL products. Some of them are even videos that are client approved. You'll see this website here. We call this our simplified issue microsite. And what's great about that, again, if you're new or newer to us on the life side, if you're not yet appointed with us, you wouldn't have access. If you're not yet appointed and contracted with us, you wouldn't have access to our full producer website, which is Sales Professional Access, or SPA for short. But you could go to this website right now. Not right now, go in about 10 minutes when we're done, but you could go to this website here, and there's no login credentials needed. You go right there and have access to a lot of different information. I mentioned in this, just touch on this briefly. I already mentioned that we, in fact, have the three IUL products, the IUL Express, which we just reviewed, as well as our two fully underwritten products. So these are going to be, you can see it's just sort of the fact sheet, if you will, on these two products and how you might position them. But again, these are going to be for the larger face amounts, the larger coverage amounts. As you work with your clients, just know that we've got you covered there. Just a few other products I wanted to touch on somewhat briefly that are part of our simplified issue product portfolio. And these next two are really what I would call just perfect add-on sales or additional sales, or really, really great products for what we started talking about in the very beginning, and Joey alluded to, cross-selling. These are great cross-selling opportunities. So children's whole life, some of you may be familiar with this. Again, plain vanilla whole life product. It's not a universal life product or an index universal life product. You can see some of the facts about the product here. Coverage amounts up to $50,000. Really streamlined underwriting process. One really cool thing about this product, as the slide points out, is actually grandparents can sign the application without parent signature. So we see that happening quite a bit. And then some of the additional features. I would say, though, one of the things, probably the main selling point of our children's whole life product, is the guaranteed insurability rider, which is included, again, at no additional cost, automatically included. And what that means is, with guaranteed insurability, you have an opportunity to lock in that person's future insurability. That's why I call it guaranteed insurability. What do I mean by that? Well, what you can do up to 5 times is, during any one of these major life events, which you can see here: marriage, purchase of a home, birth of a child, and then these 4 policy anniversaries, the client is able to apply for additional amounts of coverage, and the key being without any new evidence of insurability, without any new underwriting. So that's why we call it guaranteed insurability rider. That's why we call it kind of locking in, or refer to it as locking in that from the beginning, that child's future insurability, because as we all know, as we grow older, often we can get sick and we can become uninsurable. So that's really, in my opinion, the biggest selling point to our children's whole life. So the last product I want to touch on is we call it Guaranteed Advantage. This is our accidental death product, and this is guaranteed issue. So this is truly guaranteed issue. So it's certainly not fully underwritten. It's not even simplified issue underwriting. There's absolutely no underwriting with this product whatsoever. I'll touch on that in a second. So you can see here, pretty straightforward. Coverage amounts up to $500,000. Issue ages 18 to 70. Some of the different product features you can see here. But I would say, back up a little bit, I guess. I would say that with this product, and this actually happens quite a bit, where you'll see this product being very advantageous is you might be meeting with a client and they find out because you're meeting with them and doing an application, let's say for Living Promise or Term Life Express, for example, or IUL Express, and you find out that they're uninsurable as you're going through our e-application. And when that happens, when somebody finds out they're uninsurable, they're going to want life insurance more than they ever have, right? It's I've seen it happen myself when I was in personal production. What you can do with this product is you can offer coverage with truly guaranteed issues. So if you have a situation where somebody finds out they're uninsurable, you can offer them this product. They can. I mean, I don't want to be crass about it, but they could literally be on their deathbed and still get this product. Yes, it only pays out a benefit from a death, relating or resulting from an accident. But for those clients that are now, and again, sometimes they find this out for the first time sitting down with you as you're doing the application, they find out they're uninsurable. Once somebody finds out they're uninsurable, often they're going to think and say, I'd rather have some coverage versus no coverage, meaning, yes, it only pays a benefit as a death relating from an accident, but guess what? A lot of deaths do result from accidents. And so it's just a way to kind of position that product. And then real quick, just kind of looking at some of the resources we have available. I already talked about our simplified issue microsite. Again, if you're not yet appointed and contracted with us, this is a site you can go in to with no login credentials needed and really get access to a lot of very good information. You may know if you have been doing business with us on the life side that we really made some great enhancements several months ago to our e-signature process, which also now includes a text signature option. So that's really helped us. And it's for all of our simplified issue products. It really has helped us with our application process, but because especially with final expense, you're going to run into situations, some of you know this, I know, where the clients are maybe, they're older, they're less tech savvy, and some of the things, offering them something that's a more straightforward approach, like our text signature option, is very appealing to them. And then last but not least, I just wanted to talk about our producer bonus program that we came out with January of last year, not this year, January 1st of 2023. It's continuing this year. It's intended to be a permanent program, but it's a bonus program. And I'll tell you a little bit about it here. So there are some other carriers out there that have a bonus program. I think ours is positioned in a very competitive way. So keep in mind, this is a bonus. So this is going to be commissions. This is going to be a bonus that is paid to you on top of all the regular commissions you would earn from selling one of our products. And it's a 10% bonus, as the slide points out. What's really nice about it, unlike some other companies' bonus programs where it's only you get one shot a year, just one opportunity a year, you actually have 4 separate opportunities to qualify and earn this bonus, and they nicely coincide with the 4 quarters of the calendar year that you can see there. Now it's a bonus, right? So this is not, there's a production minimum or threshold not surprisingly, that you need to hit. And you can see that here that it's a minimum of $25,000 of placed premium during that qualification period. Now you might say, gosh, that's a lot of business. And it is. And that's the nature of most bonus programs out there. But Lynn and I can tell you that, you know, each quarter, we've been paying out a lot of bonuses to folks, that have qualified for this, and hopefully, some of you, if you already haven't already earned a bonus, you could become eligible for one. And then placement and persistency, or persistency and placement, as it says on the slide, there are some requirements to placement and persistency that you can see here on the slide. And I would just pause a little bit further on that and tell you. And I think Joey, you mentioned something related to persistency earlier, but all carriers are extremely focused these days on quality of business. And, two ways of measuring quality of business is placement and persistency. So, it's not surprising that we have, requirements in place for this bonus program and things like that. But just rest assured, we have also a lot of that I can also show you in a future session. We also have some really great tools available to you to help you, if you need to, improve your placement and persistency. And again, we have another competitive advantage, excuse me, of our bonus program, is that all the products that I just talked about are eligible to be part of this bonus program, including, which we didn't have time to get into today, but again, I'd be happy to cover in a future session, including our critical advantage portfolio, which is our critical illness product. Keep in mind real quick, so the guaranteed advantage, it's accidental death product. So you'd think, okay, it's a life insurance product. It's technically a health product, so you need your health license for that. And of course, critical advantage being our critical illness portfolio, you need your health insurance for that. But I think most of you are probably set up with that. Of course, you need a life license for the life products. And this is just a slide to kind of show you that, kind of prove it, right? In terms of if we look at last year, some of the numbers related to the bonuses that we have paid out. So there's a lot of money there to be made, and we hopefully. Hopefully some of you can qualify. Hopefully all of you can qualify for this, but it's just an additional compensation incentive that we have. So with that, as Lynn always hears me say, I'm going to pause and take a big sip of water and first throw it over to you, Lynn, see if I missed anything or you need to correct anything I said. And then Joey, throw it back over to you as well, and the entire group for any questions.
Nope, everything was great. Joey, I will send over our contact sheet so you have that. If David and myself are not available, we have our sales support unit of about 10 people. They can run illustrations, support you with e-apps, do that type of thing. So I don't know, I'm sure some of you have talked to them, but it's a great team, and they do support David and I. So I'll send that information over also.
Yeah.
Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. There were two. GW had a couple of questions in the chat.
Yeah. For some reason, I can't see the chat, but go ahead. What?
Yep. So one of the questions was from GW, with the term policy, you have to do age 70 to convert to the living promise, correct?
Well, great question. No, but to two products, we have a conversion whole life product, which is a whole life product like Living Promise, but technically it's not Living Promise. But that is one conversion product that is available, and then the other product is, which is really compelling, that they can convert to, is our Index Universal Life Express product. So you have two options.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the next question from GW was, some folks have asked for a family plan. Would the riders be a placement for a family plan? And then when the child reaches 20, could their rider be converted to a policy without underwriting?
So good. Another good question or questions. So no, the riders, if we're talking about individual riders for additional insureds, those don't allow for conversion. But there's but of course they could apply with underwriting, whether it's for another simplified issue product that would be streamlined simplified issue underwriting, or if it's a larger face amount, excuse me, are one of our fully underwritten products.
Awesome. And then Edna wants to get contracted. Edna, shoot me an email and I will get with you and get you contracted. That's awesome. That brings up my next question is, if you have not gotten contracted, get contracted.
Yeah.
Everyone who knows me knows that what I want to do is make your lives more simple. Okay. And what that means is that if I can give you a company that has simplified underwriting, simplified procedures, final expense, term, IUL,
Mhm.
all these great products with one company, with one quoting system, that's making your lives more simple. You have brand name recognition.
Mhm.
You have the simplicity of all this into one platform.
Mhm.
This is making your life simple. You don't need 10 products and making your briefcase heavy.
Yeah.
This is what we try to do, and this is what I want you to learn is that work smarter, not harder.
Mhm.
This is a great company that has all these available products for you. So you don't have to go out there and look. You go, hey Joey, what do I need for a simplified term? There you
Mhm.
go. Hey Joey, I need a great final expense. Here you go. I need I need a UL policy. So all of these things are at your fingertips to be able to talk about and to get acclimated to. And it's very simple. Every company has great tutorials inside of their agent portal. Always go in there and look at their tutorials. Okay, you can always come to me and I will go through it with you line by line and give you a very in-depth training. But take the initiative and go in there and look at the agent portal and look at the tutorials that are available to you. Because every company, and I know Mutual is the same way, I've seen them, they have great tutorials in there. So take advantage of what they're offering for you because they put a lot of time and energy into this. So take advantage of what you're looking at, please. I have one quick question here for you,
Yep.
David. On the living promise on the graded policy, how long is the graded period?
That's a great question, and I apologize if I didn't mention that. It's 2 years. So if death,
Perfect.
yeah,
That's
2 years.
great.
So if death occurs within that first 2 years, they get a benefit, but it's 100%. It's the
Yes, sir.
premiums plus 10%. After that 2 years, it would be the full death benefit.
Wonderful. Okay. And guys, that's a great 2 years is wonderful.
Oh, Joey, did I lose you? Oops. Don't know if I lost you.
I can hear you.
Oh,
Can't hear Joey though.
Joe, can anybody else hear us? Um, shoot. I'm not sure what happened.
I can hear you.
Oh,
I can
okay.
hear you.
Okay. Well, I just maybe Joey lost his connection. I just want to make sure that okay, that we didn't lose you completely. But I think well, anyway, if Joey, you can hear us, or to the rest of you, of course, we really appreciate this opportunity to speak to you about these.
Can I just just interject? Can I ask this one last question?
Sure.
So, let's just say, for an example, if a person has a 25-year term policy and so you're saying that they're not able on this platform to convert it to a living promise, they would actually have to go through underwriting again to get the living promise?
No, great question. No, so the essence of a conversion privilege, right? A term conversion privilege is no new underwriting, no evidence of insurability. So when they convert, so let's just think of our Term Life Express product. So when they convert, they have two products they can select. So one is just we call it a conversion product. So it's only available for conversions, which is a whole life product. And Living Promise is a whole life product. So it's not called Living Promise, it's just a conversion whole life product. but it's essentially the same product, right? So to answer your question, yes, they can convert from term to a whole life product, but they can also convert to our Index Universal Life Express product, which is, again, I'm a little biased, but the IUL product with all of its dynamic features and flexibility, as I think is something to look at. But most companies only offer like just the conversion product, and so we have in our case, we have two products that they could convert to.
Okay, and that age is 70,
Yeah,
right?
I can go back to, and again, we'll send you these slides. Where is it? Here we go. I don't know.
Thanks, David. I'm guessing I got disconnected for a few
Oh,
minutes.
is that Joey? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm back.
no problem. I thought I lost everybody, but then Lynn could hear me and some of the other folks could hear me. So I think we just lost you there. Lost you briefly there, but I've been just answering additional questions. But to
I
yeah,
appreciate
to the
that. Thank
gentleman
you.
that just was asking about conversions again. So this slide, shows you some of the specifics. Again, the two products available is a conversion only product, whole life. Again, it's not called Living Promise, but it is a whole life product very similar to Living Promise or Final Expense product. But also, I think a very compelling option is the ability to transfer to convert to one of our IUL products, and you can see some of the other specifics here. So just another thing to talk, a lot of in reality, a lot of times these products aren't converted, but it's an opportunity for you to, have that conversation with your clients. And like Joey, yeah,
Absolutely.
and like Joey said, guys, folks, I know that I've been in this business since 1986, so I'm an old guy, but I can tell you there's huge opportunity out, and that's the essence of cross selling. So if let's say you're primarily health focused or med sup, right? It's just a matter of asking, hey, who handles your life insurance coverage? Or there's a variety of different ways to just ask a very simple question, and then you're going to get a response. And the more you help your clients, and I know I'm probably preaching to the choir, but the more you help your clients and prospects, the deeper that your relationship will become with them, and that means all sorts of good things, including more referrals. If there's a need there, and that's why we talked about. Not sure if you can still see my slides, but this slide here: never leave a client need unmet. That's what Joey's talking about with us. And again, I'm biased, and I'm not bragging about Mutual of Omaha, but maybe I am a little bit, because that's the essence of it. You can, with Mutual of Omaha versus a lot of other carriers, we've got you covered. And keep in mind, we've got you covered. Let me expand on that, to pivot to help your clients with other needs. Lynn and I don't cover the health side, med sup or dental, but of course, that is something Mutual of Omaha excels in. But in addition to the stuff we've talked about, we also have long-term care insurance, disability income insurance, annuities. So it's really quite, I don't want to say endless, but it's quite comprehensive with what we can help you with. And so I would just urge you to ask one or two additional questions when you're meeting with folks, and you're going to uncover opportunities, and you're going to help your clients. Again, you're going to deepen that client relationship, and guess what? Your revenue is going to increase. So, all right, I'll get off my soapbox, Joey.
Perfect. No, you're good. You're good, but I
Yeah.
appreciate it. David, Lynn, thank y'all very much. I appreciate your time, and
Yeah, you bet.
like I said, we will expand more
Yep.
on this. Everyone, thank you for joining. I got a couple of contracts to send out. If you are not contracted, get with me. Let's get you contracted. You cannot write unless you are contracted. So got to get contracted first.
Yep.
So again, thank you everyone for joining. Again, David, Lynn, thank you. Everyone have a great rest of your day. And nothing else is here. I'll get you back your time and talk with you all soon.
That's great.
Take care.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody. Okay. Bye-bye.